Hello, Malcolm here, and welcome to the Sunday Sample, episode 33 for Corporate Worship Matters, and today we're talking about inspiring interviews. Perhaps you've had enough of my voice or my face. Fine by me. Let's see yours or hear your voice. I'd like to start an interview series with worship leaders primarily in the United Kingdom, Ireland, perhaps Scandinavia and the Nordics, but really anywhere in the world. I'd like to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what is God teaching you. So here's the idea. Let me give you the basics before you get too scared about being part of an interview. I'm going to make this as simple as possible, both for my sake, since this is not something I'm experienced at, and for your sake, so there's no pressure. So why are we doing it? First of all, we're doing it because this way we learn from one another. When I did an interview with Dave Eastman in Mexico last year, it really helped me to get under the skin of Dave's thinking about the theology and practice of worship, and I know those recordings have helped many other people. I'd like to do some more of that, learning from one another in more depth. Now, what will it take is the big question, isn't it? It's going to take this. It's going to take answering, thinking about, pondering on and praying about 3 questions I have for you, which I'll tell you about in a moment. Just 3. We might divert onto other associated topics, but we'll just have 3 questions. We need to use Skype or FaceTime. Either of those are fine. I have some nice new software, which I'm assured I've practiced with it, and it will record FaceTime or Skype. And we can record video or audio. I'd like both if possible, but if you can't do video, then audio will do for now. We'll need about 30 minutes of your time. The interview in its final version will be less than that, but I think we need about 30 minutes of recording. To boil it down, I'll edit it down to something a bit shorter, and that should give us something substantial enough to make it worth doing. And I'm asking for volunteers. I mean, I have asked a few people and they've said yes, but if you would like to do this, if you could share with us some things that are meaningful to you about your local worship, then let me know, please. So what are the questions? Here are my suggested questions, and we can edit these or change them slightly, but let me know what you think. So number 1, I would like to know what you think is the particular strength of your worship team. The team that you're part of, the team that you lead. What do you think is a strength? Don't be too modest about this. It's helpful for us to know the different strengths, because then we can learn about those particular strengths from a particular worship team. So what do you think might be a particular strength that God has given you, the gifts He's given you for your worship team? This could be spiritual, theological, it could be practical, whatever, that's strength. Second question. What have you tried or are trying that's working? Perhaps you weren't doing something a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, but you've been doing it, you feel like it works. What is it and why is it working? So what's working for you in your local situation? Third question. What is your personal strongest conviction about leading corporate worship? Yours personally. Perhaps it's your teams as well, but I think for you personally, what is your strongest conviction about leading corporate spiritual worship? Why do you do it? What do you think it's for? How does the congregation benefit? What's the connection with God and His nature, the evangelistic, whatever it may be, but what is your strongest personal conviction? So those are the 3 questions. What do we need to make this work? We need a quiet space. So it can be a cupboard, it can be a room, it can be somewhere, anywhere where we can have 30 minutes of uninterrupted quiet, at least reasonable quiet. If there's a little bit of background noise, that's okay, but as quiet as we can. Secondly, as I said earlier, I would prefer video and audio to just audio, but if we can only do audio, that's okay. And headphones. It will record a lot better if you've got proper headphones, preferably the sort of Skype type headphone with a little microphone. There are various ways of doing this, but if you have that, that would work very well. And if you've done this before, I'd be interested to know what's worked if you have. So please let me know. Let me finish with a quote from Psalm 100 verse 2. Why do we do all this? Worship the Lord with gladness. We want to worship with gladness. We want to help everybody worship the Lord with gladness. Come before Him with joyful songs. It's such a great and wonderful thing when we sing joyfully in our church services. So we want to help each other to have as much joy and as much gladness as possible in our worship, personally for ourselves as a worship team and a worship leader, but also for our congregations, anybody who visits, all of what God is doing in and amongst our corporate worship. That's what we're trying to do. So please let me know what will work for you. Get in touch, volunteer. We can work around your schedule. Daylight hours are best for video, obviously, but we can figure it all out. Leave a comment if you wouldn't mind. We learn best when we learn in community, right? And pass the link on to this to one other person who might benefit. And if you're watching on YouTube, please click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. That's how we'll spread the word better than ever. So thanks so much for listening or watching, and do get in touch. And I hope the next time you gather with the saints for a time of corporate worship that is uplifting and enriching and fulfilling and meaningful and God-honoring. So take care and God bless.